shit. Patient Zero coming at you with their version of Wax's podcast jingle. Still one of my faves, if not my fave of all the jingles. If you would like to submit your own Wax's podcast jingle, the email is beatsforwax@gmail.com. That is the word for, not the number. And it is not the word that represents the number. It is not the word that represents the shit you say in golf before being about to hit somebody with the fucking ball. That would be F-O-R-E. The number would be F-O-U-R. I'm talking about for, F-O-R, as if you were giving something to somebody and saying, this is for you. Just like you did this past weekend on Mother's Day. Yes, that's right. This past weekend was the day of the mom. And luckily, I would say, first of all, happy Mother's Day to my mom, who often listens to the podcast. I'm very lucky to have a mother. Not only to have a mother that raised me, to have a mother that's still alive. You know, a lot of people don't get that lucky. So if you have a mom, I'll give you the cliche, don't hesitate to call her. Don't hesitate to tell her you love her. Don't tell her. Fuck. I don't know, man. Yeah, but if you want to send a jingle, you can feel free to do that. Haven't had one in a while, but you know what? It's probably because the podcast is so fucking inconsistent. I don't really know what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been really working hard on this music thing, y'all. Been really working hard on the music. I got something that's going to drop this summer. Did a bunch of songs. My boy, my man, EOM. The one and only Elements of Music stayed at my crib for about 4 days this past week. We capped off our 4 days of working with a night of celebration at the Line Hotel. Shout out to DJ Zoe for having E do a DJ set there at his regular gig on Saturday night. Had a good old time, and it was well deserved. As I've talked about on this podcast before, if you're going to go out and party, there's a reason why they call that celebrating. You celebrate something that happened that's worth celebrating. If you do that shit every night and procrastinate and don't get anything done, that becomes depressing. But, on the other hand, if you're talking about the celebration of a Mother's Day, for example, or the celebration of getting a bunch of shit accomplished, that's my favorite kind of celebration. And it feels good. And I say that because E was here. And we certainly did get some shit done for my album. I'm actually really happy with the stuff that we did. So I'm going to have at least 3 or 4 EOM produced tracks on my album, mixtape, project, whatever I'm going to call it. New word that's not even in Webster's dictionary yet. I'm going to call it a flasm gif. I'm going to call it a dibbity skit. Everybody, I've put out my new squibbity cock. I'm not going to have the word cock in it. Attention everybody, this is Wax. You can go check out iTunes, and Spotify, and Tidal, and Apple Music. I just uploaded my new Squabbledin there. What's a Squabbledin, Wax? Well, it's kind of like a mixture of an album and a mixtape and a project and a collection of songs and a vinyl re-release, re-recording, greatest hits, master of your earlier cassette previous work inspired by your favorite artists. Is that answer good enough for you? Yes, it was. I don't even remember what the fuck you called it because it's just so new and innovative and creative. Next level shit. No, but for real though, I'm actually pretty excited about the shit that I got for this album. It's pretty fucking sick. I got some good hip-hop shit on there. Got some good laid-back shit on there. I got some good hard shit on there. You know, like I said in the last podcast, I was setting out to make this like an all kind of lighthearted, fun project. But you know me, man. I got to throw at least one thing on there that's on some deeply... that's on some... what's really underlying... What's underneath the surface of that outwardly untattered soul? What's the foundation? What is the foundation of your entire being, and how do you express that without at least having some level of darkness come into the project? I did one song. I did a song called Inner Tube. Just finished it this week. I guess I didn't finish it. I got to like mix it and master it and stuff like that. But I just really like it, man. I really like it. It really represents who I am and what the fuck I want. And it's got a vibe, man. It's got a fucking dope ass vibe. If you're familiar with any of my past work, it's kind of like somewhere in between Don't Need and if Don't Need had a little bit more and like the limousine acoustic version. It just got a vibe, man. Some of this stuff, dude, like it's so fun to make music. It's really fun, and it's interesting how music goes along with so many things. Like, for example, it goes along with drugs. And there really is truth to, like, if you make a song and you're on a drug, whether it's alcohol or weed or fucking heroin, whatever it is, the person that listens to it, if they're on that same drug, they might be much more likely to be on that wave that you were on when you sent your waves into the recording device that you use. And I just find that interesting. And with this song Inner Tube, you know, this is, you might not know this, but many of my songs, especially my earlier work, some things such as Don't Need, you know, I record these things when I'm, you know, I work late sometimes, and I'll record these things when I'm really damn near blacked out. And the vibe sometimes just makes it so, like, if somebody else were to listen to it and they're in that state of mind, you know, I think they would vibe with it. Not saying that you couldn't vibe with the shit sober, but yeah, it's interesting. That said, I clearly am not doing a sobriety kick right now. Anybody that's been listening to this for a while knows that I go on these little stints. I just did January, and I just did 30 days in April. But right now, I'm not too crazy off the wagon, but you know, I'm definitely having some beverages here and there. And I think I might take 2 weeks off the last 2 weeks of May to prepare my body for what is my upcoming trip. I don't think I've talked about it on the podcast, y'all, but I'm just now starting to get really excited. You know, I'm always working so hard I don't get excited about nothing, but when the time comes and it gets closer and closer, I get excited. I got a trip coming up at the it's like May 31st through June 5th. I'm going to Israel. Taking a trip to Israel. Israel, doth thou shepherd of Israel claim that Moses has not returned from Egypt with his father's sheep? Yeah, so my boy Davey, who, you know, me and him been making music together for years. Me and him did my whole last album. He's also a really good friend, and he's my roommate. He's from Israel. And, you know, he has a set of brothers. He has two younger brothers that are identical twins. They look fucking exactly the same, Ben and Arnan. And Arnan is getting married, and I was invited to the wedding. The wedding is either Friday or Saturday, June 5th or June 4th or 5th or 6th. Whatever one of those is a Friday or Saturday. So who cares? You're not going. I'm the one going to Israel. But yeah, I'm fucking excited about it, man. There's not too many chances you get in life to take a trip like that. And anybody out there that's listening, instead of saving up for those rims, instead of saving up for that college education, but instead of saving up, you know, here in America, and I think in the rest of the world a lot of times too, but especially here in the United States, we're raised to like shit. We're raised to like stuff. Terrorists attack us. George Bush gets on the TV and says, "Don't worry, we can continue to go shopping." Well, you know what? How about instead of that, and take off shopping for 6 months, take off buying whatever bullshit you're buying, save that shit up and take a trip somewhere. If you're from America and you live your whole life without going to Europe, it's just a shame, man. It's just sad. And I say that as somebody that probably, and without being a musician, I did go. My sister was married to somebody who was stationed in Germany in the army, and when I was 18, I actually did go to Germany to visit her. But without that, and without me being a musician, I'd probably be one of those Americans too. It's hard to save money. It's hard to have money. We're all in debt. Our culture makes us in debt, so we don't fucking go anywhere. But whatever that bullshit is you're planning on saving up to buy, your Jordans, your new fucking exhaust system or whatever car thing that people I always think of cars when I think of what, I think it's a shame that we value things over experiences, because experiences, in my opinion, are often much more valuable. There's trips that you go on that you'll never forget. There's cultures around the world that will influence the way you think and influence the way you live your life. And I think that you should do this shit whenever you get a chance. So not only do I get a chance to go to Israel, I get to experience an Israeli wedding. We're going to go to Jerusalem. We're going to see all the sights, places where Jesus walked. Jesus walked. They play that shit at the Wailing Wall. All Kanye, from what Kanye is Kanye L. Hey man, sometimes you try to make words sound similar when they don't, and nobody's successful 100% of the time. Anywho, the Wailing Wall. We're gonna go to the Dead Sea, which is the lowest place on earth, the closest to hell. Strange that in the Holy Land you can also get closest to hell, but the Dead Sea is, I think, the saltiest like body of water, and supposedly when you get in there, you just float right to the top. I never swam in some shit like that. I've swam in the ocean. I never swam. I think Salt Lake in Utah is supposed to be like that, but I think the Dead Sea is even more so. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Everybody talks about the food. David and his family, they're in Tel Aviv. And Tel Aviv is supposed to be like infamous for its partying. I want to meet some people over there. I know that the people of Israel, I actually know a shitload of Israelis, and it's like just kind of very honest, Whereas Americans are polite, Israelis are very honest and just tell you all the fucking negative shit that you don't necessarily want to hear, but it's the truth. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to it, is my point. And when I get back, I think I'm actually going to be taking a little quick trip to New York. And then hopefully by July-ish, August-ish, hopefully July, I'll be putting out this project. I'm really far into it, man. I got like 11 songs ready to go. I mean, not ready to go. You know what I'm saying? I got to add little cymbals, add crash cymbals here and there, mix it, master it. I got to work on all the skits. I'm trying to put some skits in this one to tie it together. I got a good amount of features on this one, y'all. I got a good amount of solid features. More than I've ever had on any project in the past. I got some EOM production. I got some production by myself. I got some production by my homie Davey Nathan. I got a couple outside production things I'm working on. I don't know exactly what's going to make this shit and what's not. But I'm excited, man. I'm fucking excited. It's going to be called the Cookout Chronicles. I'm going to put out some merch with this shit too, y'all. You know how I always be putting out my little batches of merch that kind of go with my projects? Well, this one's called the Cookout Chronicles, so it's going to be kind of summertime barbecue themed. So you know what I'm going to do? I already looked into it. I'm going to have some fucking wax grill tools. Wax grill tools. I'm going to have the music, a t-shirt, and a set of wax grill tools. It's going to have a spatula at that motherfucker. It's going to be a spatula, a brush, and tongs. Yes. I'm going all in, man. I'm fucking full on Kiss. And I still have a bunch of the wax rolling papers left, so I'm going to throw that in there too. So that'll be the package. Now I just got to think of a clever name. If you can think of anything else that I should put in there, a lot of people have been saying I should do a bottle opener too. If you think that I should, What type of bottle opener should I do? There's a lot of different type of bottle openers, y'all. How much time do you have right now? Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to talk about keychain bottle? Do you want me to go Bubba Gump and replace shrimp with bottle openers? Because I can do that. There's bottle openers that you hang on your wall. There's bottle openers that are very solid steel and metal, such as the ones that bartenders put in their back pockets and go, take that shit right off. There's the little shitty ones that are on your keychain that are like plastic. They might say Corona. They might say Panama City Beach, Daytona Beach, Florida. Damn near break when you try to open a bottle with them. I could go on and on. But if you think I should do a bottle opener, let me know on Twitter. I'm a little bit behind on the Beats for Wax at Gmail. I'm about 4 weeks back. So hit me up at @BigWax on Twitter. And hit me with first of all, should I do bottle openers? The question of the century. The things that I think about. I know I only live once, so I might as well spend my time thinking about valuable things such as that. Should I or shouldn't I put my name on a bottle opener and attempt to sell it to you? Should I or shouldn't I is the first question, and the second question, of course, is if yes, what type of bottle opener should it be? If no, what fucking way should I kill myself? Also, if you can think of any other things that would be dope to include in the barbecue kit. The last thing I did, people liked. What was it? What the fuck did I... What was it that I had with my last album, Living Foul? I had... Shit, I can't remember what I had last time. I'm so confused. Dog. I've done... Dog, hypothetical dog that I'm talking to. I've had my name on so much shit at this point. I had beer koozies, pint glasses, ping pong balls, and the red cups that you should throw in for beer pong. Everything I do is like alcohol shit. Alas, y'all, our society is very based on alcohol. Everything that we do, every celebration, every occasion is accompanied by drinking. And I've been influenced by society, and I've been led to this point where that's what I do a lot. And I'm not taking myself off the hook. It's my fault that I often overdo it. But this project, like most of my projects, will be very, topic-wise, it will be very much about drinking alcohol. So if that's what you're into or not into, you should check it out. What the fuck else can I talk about today? I don't really have much else to say. What's going on in the world? Donald Trump has solidified himself as the Republican candidate for president. And I don't know how much I've talked about this on the podcast, but at this point, I think that I would bet money that he will be the next president. I think that's what's going to happen, man. As insane as it sounds, nobody fucking likes Hillary Clinton, man. Nobody likes her. You can't trust her. She just says what you want to hear. That's old school politics. Say what you will about Donald Trump, but he definitely is changing the game in that way. Bernie Sanders, the same thing. Fuck old school politics. When people like, Paul Ryan come out and say they don't support Donald Trump, you know what everybody in the country is like? People like Trump, they're just like, who gives a fuck what Paul Ryan thinks? The fuck do? You're just some guy that sits there in a suit and makes decisions that are all based on polls. You might as well be a fucking robot, Paul. Robot Paul. And don't get me wrong. I do not support Donald Trump. As I've said in the past, my supporting of a candidate for president is based on one thing and one thing only, and that is who is less likely to get us into World War III. And out of the three people that remain, Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, and Donald Trump, I think the choice is clear as far as who is most likely to get us into World War III. I saw him on TV the other day. First of all, say what you will about Donald Trump, but there's a fact about Donald Trump that's pretty amazing. He's the only candidate for president out of all the 17 that he ran against, out of all the people on the Democratic side, out of all the people in the last 4 elections. He's the only person that he don't even fuck with teleprompters. Like when he walks up to the podium at his event in Iowa City or whatever, he don't even know what the fuck he's going to say. He just fucking wings it. So that's what produces so many weird-ass gems of quotes that he has. But I saw him the other day talking, and he's like, he's picking fights already, man, with our friends. He's picking fights with Mexico. He's picking fights with Canada. Talking shit about Japan. And that you got to understand, Trump supporter out there listening, because I know I got some fans that like Trump. You got to understand that his thing is that he just wants to win. He doesn't give a fuck about people. He only wants to win. That's a thing in our society. Narcissistic egotism that just drives you to win. And once he wins, he's not just satisfied. He doesn't just sit there. He has to continue to win. So the only way to win is to create conflict. So it's without a doubt, Donald Trump, if he is president, will be a source of constant conflict. Already he says that when he gets elected, he's not going to allow Muslims in the country at all. At all. The mayor of London is a Muslim. He will not be able to come to the United States. If Donald Trump is president, they're going to build a big-ass wall. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But if Donald Trump gets his way, he will build a big-ass... And if you've ever driven through Texas, I mean big-ass, long-ass wall on the border. It's fucking wild shit, man. It's just... This is the last thing I'll get into with this whole thing. The fucked up thing is that the 24-hour news cycle, the multiple networks that just have to fill 24 hours every day with news, have now made it so news is entertainment. Politics is just entertainment. There's no the line between reality television and politics in the minds of the American people is pretty fucking blurry. Because you could just turn off your television and never have to think about politics ever again. If you stopped reading the newspaper, turned off your television, and just went to work every day, the only times you'd ever really have to even sort of think about politics is when you pay your taxes. You don't have to think about that shit. So really at this point, I think most people like Trump just because he's entertaining. He's good TV, man. He's good fucking TV. But I think that people that think that might not realize, and maybe I'm overestimating it, but they might not realize that there's real potential for harm there. Like when they get to the point, I just saw an article like they're at the point in the election right now where the people that are most likely to be the next president, they have to get briefed. They have to get briefed on a bunch of classified material by people at the White House. Because you're not supposed to step in on day one and just be totally clueless. You have to have some prep. You know, you're going to be the fucking president. They can't be telling you about all the shit. They get people ready. And I don't remember who it was, but they were fucking reluctant. They were reluctant to tell all the fucking government secrets to Donald Trump. And it said in the article that 2 weeks prior to this, Donald Trump had been promoting an article in the National Enquirer that said that Ted Cruz's grandfather had something to do with the JFK assassination. And they used that as an example of like, how can we give this guy classified information when he's justifying National Enquirer stories like that? And I got to say, I'm kind of with the government on that one. Let's look at it this way, man. The real job of the president is to fucking just keep us calm. When something like Sandy Hook or Columbine happens, Donald Trump is going to get on TV and fucking tell us to be and try to bring us together in our mourning. Donald Trump does not give a fuck about people. Have you ever been to a casino in Atlantic City? Have you ever been to a casino in Atlantic City in the middle of the day and see who's out there putting their pennies and nickels, their last fucking farthings and shekels into the slot machines? That's how Donald Trump makes his money. People that are addicted to gambling, barely have enough to get by, using their food and kids' diapers money to put into that fucking slot machine. Yeah, there's people that go there. Yeah, there's the whales, sharks. But most people that go and gamble are just regular people, and they're gambling away money that they shouldn't be. It's like fucking Prince John, taken from the poor, given to the rich. If Donald Trump says he's hard on heroin dealers, I'd be like, well, why aren't you hard on your fucking self? Aren't you preying off addicts? I know it's not the same. I'm not saying it's exactly the same. But it's not that fucking different. To make all your money off casinos when you're basically taking the... I understand, don't get me wrong, I understand that it's those people's choices to do it. But, you know, if you can't see the lack of morality there, I don't know what to tell you. You might not see it as a complete lack of morality, but I definitely don't see that as a presidential thing. What the fuck do I know? Let's go to some questions and shout-outs. All right, back in the place to be, and the place to be is apparently my house. Man, my fucking studio is the shit, y'all. This shit is really a fucking dream come true. This place is amazing, man. And if EOM, if you're listening to this, the weather's been amazing literally since like the minute you left. He came to fucking LA for 4 days, and it was a shitty weather the whole time he was here. It was beautiful right until he got here. It was terrible the whole time he was here, and then as soon as he left, it's been beautiful every day. So, I don't know if it's his fault or random or I should just shut the fuck up because, you know, sometimes things don't correlate, you know? The universe does what it wants to do. It's not basing anything on what is going on in my life or EOM's life for that matter. Let's go to some shout-outs. We got Rick the Prick. We got Carl. Leno Prod, the 18-year-old producer and rapper from the San Fernando Valley. We got Go Dot. Chris M from Go Dot. Go Dot's a producer. Yeah, he makes dope-ass beats. But Go Dot, stop. Go Dot sent me a beat. He sent me 2 beats, and he said, this one's for you, and this one's for Tyler, the Creator, if you could send it to him. Hey, man, I don't know I don't know him. Chris M from Michigan. Hey, Chris, congrats on that bachelor's degree. That was my applause on my chair. Chris M. Michigan just got his degree. That's something to celebrate. Robert P. from User Experience Design. We got Rod from Guam. Daniel B. from Barrow in Furness. That's BARROW-IN-FURNESS. And he made a joke about how obviously he's from the UK with a fucking town name like that. I've talked about that on the podcast before. There's so many town names in the UK. Devonshireville Forestham. Evan A.H. We got Lursky Boy. Angelo the Banjo Bro. Quite a stretch, but, you know, I respect it. I respect that, Angelo. That's a stretched rhyme, but I respect it. Banjo Bro. Not only is the rhyme itself, Angelo and Banjo Bro, relatively stretched, but, I mean, do you play banjo? If not, I mean, you know, provide an explanation. Maybe you just chilling on the porch as if you did. Alex A., a.k.a. Arab Spring. Mike T., the student. And last but most certainly not least, we've got Bastian H. from Germany. And as I said, y'all, it looks like the last email I got to was almost exactly a month ago. Today is May 12th. I think it was literally like April 12th is where I'm at. So if you sent me an email since then, I just haven't gotten to it yet. I will try to get to it ASAP, dog. Hey, Mike. This one's from Will the Dill, parentheses, Doe, on parentheses. Hey, Mike, I have a suggestion for this week's suggestions of things which should be suggested. Check out Taku. That's TA-KU. He's a producer, and his albums Song to Break Up To and Songs to Make Up To really tell a story when you listen to them in order. Really helped me in some rough times, and it is just easy listening, too. Also did 50 Days for Dilla and 25 Nights for Nujabes, which were both super sick. Guy is really underrated, in my opinion. I don't know which one you're talking about, Dilla or Nujabes. Both are great. The word underrated is a tough word. I don't think that Dilla is underrated. I think he's thoroughly respected. Same thing with Nujabes. Maybe he is a little bit underrated, but I actually got to listen to more of his shit. Everything his shit is I like it. I actually listened to your boy Taku too. It certainly is an easy listen. It's definitely something that you can I don't know about y'all, but I've often received emails from people that listen to my music, and they'll say things like, yeah, I like to listen to your music while I'm studying or listen to music while I'm doing something else. And for me, it's very hard for me to listen to music that has words in it if I'm doing anything else. Like if I'm studying or looking at my email or whatever, I can't listen to words and look at other words and have them make sense to me at the same time. So I have to listen to instrumental music if I'm going to get something done. The only time I listen to music with words in it is when I'm just doing that. Like if I'm cleaning my house, I can listen to music with words. If I'm just driving in traffic, I can listen to music with words. But if you're doing something where you have to focus on something else, I would definitely recommend this Taku guy out. I got to listen more, but I checked it out due to your suggestion, and I was into it. All right. Yo, Mike, Dizzy from Saskatchewan here. If you're a rapper, can that just be your rap name, Dizzy from Saskatchewan? I want to go to Saskatchewan one day. I also want to go to Saskatoon one day. Been a while since I last emailed. Can't wait for the new shit. Is this album fully produced by EOM or just a few tracks? Either way, I feel a classic brewing. Let's not get out of hand. The word classic might get thrown away a little too much. There's nothing that I've done that's classic. But if you consider it classic, I guess classic is in the eye of the beholder, you know? As a musician, I always think of classic as something where, like, 50 years from now, pop culture will be talking about it. Like, classic is like Michael Jackson and Marvin Gaye. But, if it's classic in your life, if something that becomes classic in your own life, you can't deny it to be classic. If you were listening to something and during a watershed moment in your life, I guess that's classic to you. Can I get a shout out? Well, shout out to you, Dizzy. The album is not fully produced by EOM, but EOM got a solid bunch on there. So it'll be like a third EOM, a third me and/or Davey. I'd have to look at the fucking track listing, but yeah. So it's not complete. Well, yeah. To answer your question, it's not completely EOM, but he does have some joints on there. All right, this one's from Tony. Hey, Wax, it's Tony, bro. Oh, yeah. Hey, Wax, it's Tony, bro. The Nova Scotia grown vocal coach. Me and my homie Joe were going to the club to do-si-do with the local hoes. Didn't bring ID, so when it came to the bouncer, I'd only known that my nose would grow like Pinocchio. Oh, so when it came to the bouncer, if I'd only known that my nose would grow like Pinocchio, then I would have just smoked at home. I thought my excuses were on point like a Toblerone. But let's just say it wasn't the bouncer's first rodeo. He got aggressive and ended up comatose with a broken toe. Do you think some club bouncers have an authority overdosed? Thanks, Wax. This is Tony. Well, Tony went the extra distance and did his email in rhyme form, and I appreciated it. What he's saying in this thing is he went down to the club and he didn't have his ID. So the bouncer wouldn't let him in the club. And if this is true, he got aggressive and I ended up comatose with a broken toe. The bouncer had a little bit of an authority problem. And first of all, thanks for rhyming that. That was fun for me, and I hope it was fun for you, and I hope it was fun for everybody involved. But yes, of course, man. Anybody who takes a position of authority is kind of by default more likely to be the kind of person that wants to trip on authority. Cops being the ultimate example. Bouncers and security guards being the next. Some security guards are just like really just trying to get their paycheck. But dude, if you think about it, especially with police, man, like if you're gonna become a bouncer, you probably are kind of into fights. You know what I mean? Some dudes are just big. Some dudes are just fucking big, and they're like, you know what, I'm gonna make some money being a bouncer. I'm not worried about getting beat up because I'm so fucking big. I'll just be a bouncer or a bodyguard. If you become a police officer, how can you possibly be surprised that police officers are overwhelmingly aggressive assholes? I'm not saying all of them, but overwhelmingly, the majority of police officers are aggressive and dickheadish. It's because not many normal peace-loving people would want to put their life on the line every day and hold guns and potentially shoot people and get shot at. Not many normal peace-loving people want that job. It's people who want confrontation that want to be confrontational. So it doesn't surprise me. I've never been shy about my lack of trust and lack of love for the police officers. Feel totally different about firefighters. By the way. But it's just my experiences with police have been overwhelmingly negative. Even when I'm just looking for help. Like I think I've told the story on the podcast before about when I got robbed. I got robbed when I first moved to LA. I got robbed at gunpoint. And, when I reported it, I went to the station and reported the crime. And when I described the gun the guy pointed at me, it was like a little handgun that kind of looked like a snub nose. I don't know anything about guns. I don't know anything about it. I was just trying to describe the shape of the gun. And he looked at me and snickered and went, was it a fake gun? And to me, I was just like, it just that sentiment is kind of a summary of the kind of people that become police officers, in my opinion. And that's just one singular experience. There's other experiences to back it up too. Not saying all of them. There's a solid 3% of them that are all right. This one is, hey, Wax, I'm Noah from Cali, another fan/podcast test listener here, and I just think my life has been moving way too fast at 18, going on 19 next month, and often think I'm wasting time or effort on shit I really shouldn't. Like how you mentioned in the last podcast about going to college for not knowing what the fuck you want to do with your life. What do you think is the best way to get out of that mindset? I don't know, man. Just don't want to get old and have an unfulfilling life. Thanks, man. Much love, Noah. That's a tough question, man. 18, 19. That's an age where you don't know yet who you are, man. You know, maybe some people do. People that are forced to live fast. People that are forced to take control of a household when their parents die or something like that might know a little bit more. But for me personally, like, when I was 18 or 19, I really didn't know what to do. And it is a perfect time to, that's the age when somebody moves out and they go to college. And college, you can kind of like not decide exactly what you want to do for a while. Even after college, you don't know what the fuck you're going to. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing now. Nobody does. But I wouldn't worry too much about it, man. It's just something that's, I don't know. There's instincts that will take over. I don't know. I'm not, and I know I've said bad things about college, but I had a great experience with my when I went to college after high school. I did have a great experience in college, but as the years go by, it's just becoming more and more of a racket. Like it really is this fleecing. It's a different version of what I talked about with with Donald Trump for the casinos. It's a different version of that. You're just taking this really vulnerable market. It's so easy. It's so fucking obvious People get out of high school and they want to go to college. So you give them fucking money, and they think they're not only, I mean, they think they're doing a good thing. They think they're going to get a return on their investment, but overwhelmingly now, you get out of that expensive college, and now you're in fucking crippling debt, and an entry-level job can't even pay your loan off, much less your loan plus your living expenses plus saving money. Everybody I fucking know is in debt, even people that do well. Even people that make a lot of money, they're all, if you added the shit up, if you added up the negatives, they're all in debt. What the fuck was I talking about? But yeah, that said, you know, if you can get a scholarship, if you can get some kind of grant, or if you just, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know the answers, Sway. It just seems like such a fleece now. I just know so many people with these college loans that kind of regret it. It's just like you I don't know, you're weighing between two things. You're like, yeah, I did have a good experience in college, but you know, now I've been out for 10 years and I still owe more than I borrowed. That's how a lot of people are. So regardless of whether college is a positive thing or a bad or a negative thing, it's just fucking sad that there's these fucking it's becoming a predatory lending system. Just like payday loans. Anywho, I don't know if that helped you at all. Probably not. Just try to keep your head up, man. You know what I'm saying? Just try to, you know. Hey, life ain't easy, man. But just try to find the positives, I guess. I don't know. I'm not an uplifting dude. This one's from Heath B. What's up, Wax? Been listening to the pod. Let me go back to that. Just fucking, I shouldn't leave you with a negative like that. I don't know. You're reaching out. You know what I'm saying? Just, I don't know, man. Just do what comes naturally to you. It's tough. Being 18 or 19 is just tough, man. Just try to have fun, dude. That's all you can do. Remember the good times, bro. This is Heath B. What's up, Wax? Been listening to the podcast for about 2 years now. I just never wrote you. First heard of you back in 2013 through a burned CD with various hip-hop songs and remixes ripped off of YouTube that an old friend gave me. The song Bad Company, which I would later found out was from your appearance on Kinda Neat, was on there. I used to bump that shit every morning on my miserable 3 a.m. commute to UPS back when I worked there right out of high school. I don't know why I felt compelled to tell you that. I guess because I don't have the typical heard your shit on YouTube back in 08 fan story. Haha. Man, working at UPS would be difficult, man. I've mentioned working at UPS in a few of my songs. That'd be fucking difficult for me, dog. Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. It's amazing to hear how people have discovered my music through various different ways, and that certainly is a unique one. First of all, who in 2013 was listening to mix burn CDs? You know what I mean? You might a little bit behind the time there. Ironically, you're much in front of the time, getting up so early at 3 a.m., but you were behind the time when you were listening to your mix CDs. That said, that's cool. Tell your friend I said thank you, man. As for my question, it said on the Chunky lyric video and on you and Mono Neon social media that Mono Neon produced that track, which is some of your most slept on shit in my opinion. How did that come about? Did you guys jam, or was he just like, hey, I have this instrumental and you should rap on it? Just curious. P.S. You made a few comments that made it seem like you were kind of down on the Livin' Foul record. I don't know how the sales were or any of that, but that shit was dope as hell, man. Really can't wait for your next shit. Peace, man. And if you ever do a college town kind of tour again, be sure to hit up Gainesville, Florida. All right, Heath, thank you for the props, man. I appreciate the love that's in this message. Don't get me wrong about the Livin' Foul album. I like that album a lot. I've loved the fucking thing. I think there's some amazing shit on there, and if I've ever talked down about it, it's not because of what I think about the content of the album. It's what I think about the success of it, you know, the sales of it. I really didn't make enough. There's a lot of shit that went on behind the scenes of that album that get left. It was mostly the processes I went through as far as making videos. I kind of made I made 2 shit videos for a decent amount of money that never even came out. And that was the first time that I've ever really done something like that, and it sucked. But yeah, I think Livin' Foul is awesome, man. I think She Wants Everything is awesome. The song Livin' Foul is awesome. You're Not Good Enough. I love that shit. But if I'm ever down on it, it's more about The sales of it are definitely not what my album Continue was. Let's put it that way. The success of it wasn't that great, but I love the album itself. As far as Chunky, thank you for saying that shit is slept on, because I've put out a lot of music, and I think that shit is slept on too. If you listen to some of the lyrics, it's some of the most clever, like, rippity rap shit I've done. So as far as how did it come about, I feel like I'm really bigging myself up here, but I'm just agreeing with you. I'm agreeing. You said that I was awesome, and I'm like, yeah, thanks, man. I know. No, actually, Mono Neon stayed at my house for a week, and there's another joint that's going to be on. That's another person who has production on my album, by the way, is Mono Neon. There's another joint that we did together in a jam session kind of way that's going to feature my brother, actually, that's going to be on my album. But Chunky is actually an old. After he left, I was just looking up a bunch of his shit, and it was like an old beat that he had made that I found on YouTube, and I just wrote that to it. So that one actually wasn't new, and he didn't approach me with it. I just found it and rapped on it, and he's into it. But I got another joint that when he was here, we actually did like a jam session type of thing. It has now turned into a song. All right, this is from Landon K. Dear Wax, this is Jim or something. Hypothetical question. Would you rather eat an entire turkey the size of John Goodman? An entire turkey. That's a big turkey. The size of John Goodman in one sitting, or a John Goodman the size of a small turkey. P.S. Thanks for the advice last week, man. Man, meant a lot. I'm picturing. Let's be realistic here. First of all, there's so many people send me these kind of questions, and there's always so many variables that are left unanswered within the question. Because you want the question to just sound short and to the point. And a turkey the size of John Goodman, or a John Goodman the size of a turkey. Now there's so many other questions that you haven't addressed. First of all, how the fuck am I going to eat a turkey the size of John Goodman in one sitting? I mean, now we're talking about what's physically possible. I mean, even a small John Goodman the size of a turkey, which, by the way, that one didn't say in one sitting. But even just eating something the size of a turkey in one sitting is difficult. That's a man versus food shit. And if we're talking a large human-sized turkey, like, am I going to die? If the first one is I'm going to die because I can't possibly eat that much, I would take the latter. Second question I have is, are these things cooked? Like, is it just like a fucking big-ass turkey the size of John Goodman? He's walking around and I got to get a fork and fucking just start stabbing him until he stands still enough for me to eat his living flesh? The small turkey John Goodman, is he like walking around? Is he like a little mini me? And I got to catch him and fucking behead him before I eat him? Or is he like cooked like a turkey, like a little miniature human body that's put on a platter with, like, I don't know, with a fucking apple in it, like his mouth like a pig? Is that like, is all this stuff cooked and sitting on a platter? I'm assuming that's the case. You're not asking me if I'm going to eat a live turkey, huge turkey, or little man. I'm assuming these are cooked things. It's picturing like a little cooked John Goodman on a Thanksgiving platter. It's pretty funny. That said, I mean, do I get to have sides? Can I use gravy? Can I cover the little John Goodman in gravy? Or does gravy just naturally come out of a little John Goodman when you poke his stomach? I don't know. Is that gravy turkey gravy? Or is that gravy John Goodman gravy? Those are the kind of questions I would have to ask before really giving that question an answer that deserves. That said, with the information that I have, I'd have to go with the latter. I'd have to eat the little John Goodman. And with that, the podcast is done. Be safe out there.